What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to some career mode goodness. And of course, guys, we just finished off our simulation with PSG, and it ended up being 1-1, so I'm pretty happy about that. Nothing to complain about. And you know, it is all preseason. Of course, we are just simulating the preseason at the moment. Hope you guys can bear with me. But one thing I would just want to say, and it's something I didn't realize until I actually played a few games into my career mode, where I actually played, went into the games and played myself, was that I was actually on professional difficulty. Now, to anyone who knows or been watching my career modes in the past, I tend to run with world class. So the first few games where I actually play, they are going to be in a professional difficulty, and I apologize for that. But as soon as I realize that, I do actually go ahead and swap that up and make it into world class, because world class is good because I feel as though professional is a little too easy. I score a little too many goals, and the defense of the computer AI is just really quite poor, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And then was it legendary? I think is the one just above that. That's just a little bit too hardcore for myself. I don't enjoy playing the game when the CPU is literally, they do everything perfect. And you know, props to anyone who can play like that. You know, I have a lot of respect for you if you're willing to put yourself through that and you can actually beat the computer on legendary. But for me, I just prefer to play on world class. It provides, I think it's just a really good sort of middle ground. But anyways, I had a game against Real Betis here, I think is how you'd pronounce that. But Osvaldo there gets a goal early on in the 14th minute, but they reply relatively quickly with 2 goals from Cedric there and Chuli, and it just wasn't looking too good. But unfortunately, Osvaldo managed to get another goal straight after that, making it 2-2. So the game was relatively even. We both got goals here and there. But Real Betis actually have a striker that I really like, and that's Ruben Castro. To anyone who's used him in Ultimate Team or anything like that, you'll know that you'll know that he's just a really good player. He's a really good cheap alternative as well. So keep an eye out for him if you guys are interested. But let's go back to the Kurt Zuma sort of incident, if you will, because the reason why I didn't instantly go and start talking contracts and things with him was just mainly because I didn't want to spend such a large chunk of my transfer budget on a centre back. I know we do need to improve the sort of defense position, but I also feel as though the striker position needs a bit of work too. We have Osvaldo and Ricky Lambert, both, you know, good strikers. They're doing fine at the moment, but I definitely think we need another striker. If not to be a starting striker, we definitely need some depth in that particular position. But I had to find out where the transfer negotiations were, because it's all because the menus have all changed. It's all in a little bit of a different spot. But as you can see there, we had Lovren, who moved over to Southampton, but that was before I came over. The Musa, the club pulled out. I think that was because it took so long to get back to him. But here we can see Zuma. I was still able to get into some contract talks with him, and I wanted to make an offer. You know, I wanted to get back into things. I wanted them to accept it, and because they accepted, I believe it was 6 million, and Jose Fonte along with that, I figured, well, why not try for 5 million, see if I could be a little bit cheeky and try and get him just for that little bit cheaper, because literally every million counts. When you only have 8 million to spend, literally every million counts. So it's something I really wanted to keep in mind. Now, let's bring up a few comments. So we have one here from Rose, I believe is how you'd say his last name. And he asks, why would you try and buy Musa if you already have Mayuka? Now, Mayuka is actually already out on loan. He's out on loan. I believe it's to a French side, and he's just not around at the moment. So I would like to bring someone else in. He's away out on loan, and I wish he was at the squad. I believe I could recall him, but I don't think that's entirely necessary, especially in the minute. You know, the 2 strikers are doing okay, but like I said, Mayuka is out on loan to those of you guys who are interested. But at the moment, we're just taking a look at some of the instructions I put. If you guys remember correctly, I spoke a little bit about it in the last episode, how my instructions really weren't that smart. You know, I didn't think about what I was doing. I was asking for young promising players that only had 2 or 1 year left on their contract, which in reality is very unrealistic. So I decided to swap that out, make sure you know, I kind of broadened the search that my scouts could kind of take a look at, because it just wasn't working out for me. But unfortunately, we get some bad news early on in the 5th or 6th minute. It's actually Ramirez who gets injured, but then we get some good news. We get the other team gets sent off. We managed to pick up a goal, but they still managed to get an equalizer. Parma somehow managed to get an equalizer when they only had 10 men on the pitch, which was kind of surprising for me. But hey ho, that's the way it was. But fortunately for me, Sharp was ready to play, and he was there, and he managed to pick up up 2 goals this game, which was nice for me. Nice to see. Another thing is that someone pointed out, and his name is Kashi7, was saying that at 1 minute 42 on my last video, Leandro Demao there had between 1 and 99 defending, and you know, at first I was a little confused, like, why are they giving me such a broad range? But it's because, you know, it would make sense. Why would the scouts actually care about his defending or even take a look at his defending? Because he's a striker at the end of the day, and, you know, that's why you might get these really sort of broad predictions, is because, you know, that stat doesn't necessarily matter so much. So there you go, Kashi. That's kind of an answer as to why it was between 1 and 99. I think you'll find that'll be relatively frequent amongst a lot of your scouted players. And yeah, it's kind of having, like, you know, a centre back, you know, having between 1 and 99 when it comes to attacking positioning or something like that. You guys kind of get the drift. Of it. Sorry. The next thing was from Mr. Luke Fishface, and it's pretty interesting name he's got going on. But anyone else agree that when you're going to buy a player, it's annoying because you can't see their overall or what they're worth? Now, this was actually a pretty interesting point, and I actually quite like it. You know, it provides a sort of unpredictability about this game, and it requires you to use your scouts. That's pretty much what they want, and I think it's quite good. You know, I guess it's kind of annoying if you're very used to what the old career mode was like, but I kind of like it. It's just a lot more realistic. You got to go send a scout out to really understand about the player, to really find out the key stats about him. So I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments. Do you like it or do you not like it? But yeah, anyways, we were looking at Schalke. Now, Schalke for me are packed full of great youth players. They have some just amazing players that are going to develop into some just monster players. You got Howadies, I think is how you say his name. Maximilian Mayer as well. I probably butchered plenty of those names, but those are quality players that I want to keep an eye out for. They've got, yeah, like I said, some really good players, some young players. So if you guys are looking for some promising players, then definitely take a look at the Schalke squad. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode today. Hope you did all enjoy it. And the question I want to ask for you guys is, what are your thoughts on the if I were to do a financial takeover? Obviously, I will not be doing it this transfer window because I always like to go at least one transfer window to see how it all rolls out. But do you think in January, whoa, what the? Do you think in January that we should possibly, you know, go and speak to some Arabs, see if they'd be interested in dumping a bunch of oil money into our accounts to see if we can pick up a few good players? Let me know in the comments, guys. More than happy to hear. But that is going to be the question of this video, if you will. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye-bye.